What if I told you that the craziest conspiracy theories in history turned out to be completely true? Governments poisoning their own citizens, secret mind control experiments, corporations programming cars to lie, all called crazy, all proven real. And by the end of this video, you will never dismiss a conspiracy theory the same way again. Wait for number 15, because the theory physicists now take seriously will make you question whether any of this is even real. Stay for every single one, because the pattern is terrifying. Let's descend into the theories they called crazy until they couldn't anymore. Theory number 1. The government poisoned alcohol. The government literally poisoned its own citizens. During Prohibition in the 1920s, Americans kept drinking illegally. The government was furious. So they did something absolutely insane. They ordered manufacturers to poison industrial alcohol with deadly chemicals including methanol, chloroform, and kerosene, knowing bootleggers were stealing it to sell as drinking alcohol. The logic? If the alcohol kills people, maybe they'll stop drinking. Spoiler, they didn't stop drinking. Over 10,000 Americans died from government-poisoned alcohol. When the chief medical examiner of New York called it legalized murder, federal officials basically shrugged and said people shouldn't be drinking illegally anyway. Your government poisoning your drinks on purpose. This wasn't a conspiracy theory. It was documented federal policy, confirmed by historical records and government documents. The conspiracy theorists were right. The government was literally poisoning people. They just didn't know how right they were. Theory number 2. Big Tobacco knew. Cigarettes caused cancer, and they hid it for decades. For years, anyone who said tobacco companies knew cigarettes cause cancer was called a paranoid conspiracy theorist. Tobacco executives testified before Congress in 1994 that nicotine was not addictive. 7 of them, under oath, simultaneously. It was one of the most spectacular lies ever told on live television. Internal documents later revealed that tobacco companies had known since the 1950s that cigarettes caused cancer. They had their own research proving it. They buried it, funded fake science, and spent billions convincing the public that smoking was perfectly safe. The conspiracy theorists who said tobacco companies were hiding the truth were completely right. The companies that called them paranoid were the ones committing fraud. 40 million people died from smoking-related diseases, while the industry knew and said nothing. That's not a theory, that's a crime. Theory number 3, CIA MK Ultra. Secret mind control experiments. If you told someone in 1960 that the CIA was secretly dosing American citizens with LSD without their knowledge to test mind control techniques, they would have called you completely insane. You would have been right. MK Ultra ran from 1953 to 1973. The CIA dosed unwitting subjects, including mental patients, prisoners, and random civilians, with LSD, subjected them to electroshock therapy, sensory deprivation, and psychological torture, all trying to create the perfect mind-controlled assassin. It didn't work. They just traumatized thousands of innocent people. CIA Director Richard Helms ordered all files destroyed when the program was exposed, but a clerical error preserved 20,000 documents. Those documents confirmed everything the crazy conspiracy theorists had been saying. The CIA was running secret mind control experiments on Americans. Not a theory, documented fact. Theory number 4. Operation Northwoods, fake terrorist attacks. In 1962, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest military authority in America, drafted a plan called Operation Northwoods. The plan proposed staging fake terrorist attacks on American soil, blowing up American ships, hijacking American planes, and killing American citizens, then blaming it all on Cuba to justify an invasion. It was signed, approved, sent to President Kennedy's desk. Kennedy rejected it and fired the people responsible. The documents were classified for decades. Anyone who suggested the military had ever considered attacking its own people was labelled a dangerous conspiracy theorist. Then, in 1997, the documents were declassified. Every single detail was there, on official government letterhead, with official signatures. Not a theory, a declassified government document. Stay with me, because what's coming next will make your jaw drop. We're about to cover a corporation that knew its product was killing people for 50 years, a secret prison network that spanned the entire globe, and a surveillance system that made Orwell look optimistic. Theory number 5, PRISM mass surveillance. The government was recording every phone call and reading every email. Before 2013, if you said the government was recording your phone calls and reading your emails, people would suggest you adjust your tinfoil hat. Then, Edward Snowden walked out of an NSA facility in Hawaii carrying thousands of classified documents. What those documents revealed was staggering. The NSA had been collecting data from Google, Apple, Facebook, and Microsoft through a program called PRISM. They were vacuuming up phone metadata from millions of Americans through secret court orders. They were tapping the phones of allied foreign leaders. The crazy people warning about mass government surveillance were completely right. They had actually underestimated how far it went. Snowden is still in Russia. The debate about traitor or hero continues. But one thing is settled. They really were listening to everything, all the time. Theory number 6, CIA black sites, secret prisons around the world. After September 11th, 2001, rumours began circulating that the CIA was operating secret detention facilities in foreign countries. Black sites where prisoners were held without legal rights, without charges, and without anyone knowing they existed. Conspiracy theory, said the government. In 2006, President Bush admitted the black sites existed. A Senate Intelligence Committee report released in 2014 confirmed the full, horrifying picture. Secret prisons in at least 8 countries. Prisoners subjected to waterboarding, sleep deprivation, rectal feeding, and techniques that international law defines as torture. Some prisoners were held for years without charges. Some were later found to be completely innocent. The conspiracy theorists who said the CIA was running secret torture prisons around the world were completely right. The government that called them paranoid was running the prisons. Theory number 7, sugar industry corruption. Blaming fat instead of sugar. For decades, nutritional science told us fat was the enemy. Low fat everything. Fat causes heart disease. Fat makes you fat. Anyone who suggested sugar was actually the problem was dismissed as a crank. In 2016, researchers discovered internal documents from the Sugar Research Foundation dating back to 1967. The sugar industry had paid Harvard scientists the equivalent of $50,000 in today's money to produce research that downplayed sugar's link to heart disease and pointed the finger at dietary fat instead. The funding was never disclosed. The research shaped 50 years of global nutritional advice. Low-fat products flooded supermarket shelves, loaded with extra sugar to compensate for taste. The people who said sugar was killing us were right. The scientists telling us to eat low-fat were on the sugar industry's payroll. Theory number 8, Volkswagen emissions scandal. Cheating emissions tests with secret software. For years, Volkswagen marketed its diesel cars as clean, efficient, and environmentally friendly. Anyone who suggested major corporations were systematically lying about environmental compliance was called anti-business and paranoid. Then, in 2015, the EPA discovered that Volkswagen had installed secret software in 11 million vehicles worldwide. The software detected when the car was being emissions tested and temporarily reduced performance to pass the test. In normal driving conditions, the cars emitted up to 40 times the legal limit of nitrogen oxide. 11 million cars, deliberately programmed to cheat, for years. Volkswagen paid $30 billion in fines and settlements. The conspiracy theorists who said corporations were lying about environmental compliance were completely right. Volkswagen was literally programming its cars to lie to regulators 11 million times. Hold on, because the next theories get even wilder. We're about to cover a pharmaceutical company that hid deadly side effects for years, a food additive that was approved despite evidence of harm, and many more. Theory number 9. Opioid crisis cover-up. Lie about addictive OxyContin. When the opioid crisis began devastating American communities in the 1990s, Purdue Pharma insisted OxyContin was not addictive. Their sales representatives told doctors it was safer than aspirin. They funded studies claiming addiction rates were less than 1%. They aggressively marketed it to doctors who prescribed it for everything from back pain to headaches. Anyone who suggested Purdue Pharma was deliberately creating addiction for profit was dismissed as anti-pharmaceutical. Court documents released in 2019 revealed that the Sackler family, who owned Purdue Pharma, knew OxyContin was highly addictive from the beginning. They knew, they lied, they profited. Over 500,000 Americans died from opioid overdoses. The Sackler family paid $8 billion in settlements while admitting no criminal wrongdoing. The conspiracy theorists were right. The pharmaceutical company was lying. Theory number 10. US biological weapons testing. Secret test on American cities. Between 1949 and 1969, the US military conducted secret biological warfare tests on American cities without telling anyone. In San Francisco, the Navy sprayed the entire city with bacteria from ships offshore to test how biological agents would spread in an urban environment. In New York, military scientists released bacteria into the subway system to study how it spread through ventilation. In Minneapolis, the Army sprayed zinc-cadmium sulfide over residential neighborhoods. None of the residents were informed. None consented. The tests were declassified in 1977 during Senate hearings. Researchers later linked the San Francisco spraying to pneumonia deaths in the weeks following the test. The conspiracy theorists who said the government was testing biological weapons on its own citizens were completely right. The government was literally spraying bacteria on American cities. Theory number 11. Tuskegee syphilis experiment. Medical treatment with hold to watch people die. From 1932 to 1972, the US Public Health Service conducted a study on 600 African American men in Tuskegee, Alabama. The men were told they were being treated for bad blood. They were actually being observed as syphilis progressed untreated through their bodies. When penicillin became the standard cure for syphilis in the 1940s, researchers deliberately withheld it from the subjects. They wanted to watch the disease run its full course. The study continued for 40 years until a whistleblower leaked the details in 1972. By then, dozens had died. Wives had been infected. Children had been born with congenital syphilis. Anyone who said the government was deliberately letting black Americans die for medical research was called a conspiracy theorist. They were completely right. It was documented government policy. Theory number 12. Planned obsolescence cartel. Companies secretly agreed to make products break faster. The idea that corporations deliberately design products to fail so you have to buy new ones sounds like paranoid anti-capitalist ranting. Except it literally happened, and it's documented. In 1924, the world's major light bulb manufacturers, including General Electric, Philips, and Osram, gathered in Geneva and formed a secret cartel called Phoebus. At the time, light bulbs lasted around 2,500 hours. These companies re-engineered them to burn out after just 1,000 hours. They imposed fines on any member whose bulbs lasted longer. Researchers found meticulous correspondence documenting exactly how they modified filaments to shorten lifespans. The Phoebus cartel essentially invented planned obsolescence. Every time your phone starts glitching right after the warranty expires, you can thank a group of light bulb executives from 1924. The conspiracy theorists were right. They really do make things break on purpose. Stay with me, because we're almost at the most mind-blowing theories of all. We're about to cover a lost continent that actually existed, a secret room in the Vatican, and a theory about reality itself that physicists now take seriously. Theory number 13, continents moving. The crazy scientist who said continents move was completely right. In 1912, a German meteorologist named Alfred Wegener stood before Europe's most respected scientists and said something that got him laughed out of the room. He said the continents were moving, that they had once been a single landmass, that South America and Africa fit together like puzzle pieces because they used to be connected. The scientific establishment called his theory delirious. They mocked him for being a weather guy trying to do geology. Wegener spent decades collecting fossil evidence, rock samples, and climate data proving his theory. He died in 1930 on an expedition in Greenland, still widely dismissed as a crank. It took another 30 years for science to quietly admit Wegener was completely right. His frozen body has since drifted about 2 centimeters per year on the very tectonic plate he predicted existed. Theory number 14. Simulation theory. We might actually be living inside a computer simulation. This sounds like something a philosophy student says after too much coffee, but some of the world's most respected physicists and technologists take it completely seriously. Elon Musk has said the odds we're living in base reality are 1 in billions. Neil deGrasse Tyson puts the probability at 50-50. Philosopher Nick Bostrom's simulation argument has been published in peer-reviewed academic journals. The evidence is surprisingly compelling. The universe appears to have a maximum resolution, the Planck length, below which nothing can be measured, exactly like pixels in a video game. The laws of physics behave like code. Quantum particles only render when observed. We haven't proven we're in a simulation, but we haven't proven we're not. And the physicists who study it most seriously are the least confident we're not. That should terrify you. Theory number 15. Ancient advanced civilizations. They existed before recorded history. The mainstream historical view is that human civilization began around 3000 BC in Mesopotamia. Anyone who suggested advanced civilizations existed before that was called a crank, a pseudoscientist, or someone who watched too many documentaries. Then archaeologists found Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, a massive complex of carved stone pillars, sophisticated architecture, and intricate artwork, built around 9600 BC, 6,000 years before Stonehenge, 7,000 years before the pyramids. The people who built it had no agriculture, no writing, no metal tools according to conventional history. Yet they built a structure so sophisticated it required coordinated labor, advanced planning, and engineering knowledge we can't fully explain. Göbekli Tepe didn't just push back the timeline of civilization, it destroyed it completely. The crazy people who said advanced civilizations existed before recorded history were right. We just hadn't dug deep enough. Stay with me, because the real question isn't which crazy theories turned out to be true. The real question is, which ones are we dismissing right now that will be proven true next? 15 theories, 15 times the crazy people were completely right. Governments poisoned citizens. Tobacco companies hid cancer research. The CIA ran mind control experiments. Every single one was called a conspiracy theory. Every single one was true. So the next time someone calls you crazy for questioning the official story, remember this video. If this video made you question everything, hit that subscribe button, because this channel uncovers the theories they called crazy, the truths they buried, and the history they don't teach in school. Drop a comment and tell me, which theory shocked you most? And what current conspiracy theory do you think will be proven true next? Share this video, because the only defense against being lied to is knowing you've been lied to before. Next video, we uncover 15 technologies buried to keep you dependent. You don't want to miss it. Subscribe, comment, share, and never stop questioning. See you in the shadows.